Kai Lorne had always been known for speaking his mind. In the crowded halls of the starship Aurora's Dawn, that trait often got him into trouble. But it also earned him a reputation for honesty. He wasn't the loudest officer, nor the most decorated. But there was something about his straightforwardness that people admired. It wasn't arrogance, it was a quiet, human confidence that came from trusting his instincts. And in a universe filled with alien species, who often masked their intentions behind layers of subtlety and ritual, that human instinct was sometimes the edge that kept him alive. It was an ordinary morning aboard the ship, the kind of morning where the soft hum of the engines and the low chatter of crew members seemed to settle into a rhythm that made the ship feel alive. Kai was walking through the observation deck, a place he frequented when he needed a moment of quiet or a chance to think. Outside the massive windows, the stars stretched endlessly, scattered like diamonds against the black canvas of space. The view was spectacular. But it was the silence and solitude Kai craved most. That morning, however, solitude was not on the agenda. Lieutenant Rena Thal, the ship's xenobiologist, had stationed herself near the panoramic viewport, studying the data feed from a distant system. She had always been focused, precise, and dedicated, often losing herself in work for hours, without noticing anyone around her. Kai had a certain admiration for that, though he rarely admitted it aloud. Her brilliance was the kind of thing that could make humans appear almost superhuman to those who didn't understand the subtle nuances of science. As Kai approached, he was tempted to remark on the patterns she was analyzing, perhaps even ask questions about her theories. But something about that day made him reckless with words. He didn't realize it until it was too late. "Rena," he said, his voice softer than usual. "You're always thinking about these things. How do you do it?" Rena didn't look up immediately, her eyes still fixed on the holographic display in front of her. "Do what, Kai?" she asked without turning. "I mean, you see patterns where none of us see them. It's impressive." He hesitated for a moment, realizing how vulnerable that sounded. "Honestly, it's beyond anything I expected from a human." Finally, Rena turned her head, her expression caught between curiosity and amusement. "Beyond anything you expected from a human?" she repeated. She tilted her head slightly, as though trying to figure out if he was serious or just teasing. I just mean," Kai stammered, suddenly self-conscious, "that humans are, well, surprising." "You're surprising." For a moment, silence stretched between them, only broken by the hum of the starship. Then, Rena's lips curved into a smile, one that was neither mocking nor dismissive. It was a smile that made Kai's chest tighten in an unexpected way, a mixture of relief, embarrassment, and something else he didn't want to name. "You just accidentally spoke your thoughts," she said, leaning back slightly. "Most people try to hide what they really think about science. Or people. You don't." Kai blinked, unsure whether to be offended or grateful. Rena laughed softly, a sound that seemed to blend with the ambient noise of the ship in a way that made it feel warmer, almost human in its comfort. "You humans," she said with a faint shake of her head, "always so blunt, so direct. Sometimes it's irritating, sometimes it's refreshing. But you've got a lot to learn about subtlety, too." Kai nodded, though he wasn't entirely sure what subtlety meant in this context. "I suppose that's true. But maybe, sometimes bluntness is what saves you." Rena studied him for a moment, her eyes sharp and calculating. "Perhaps. Or maybe it just makes life more interesting." Kai felt a strange mixture of embarrassment and pride. She hadn't scolded him, hadn't judged him, and yet she had acknowledged him in a way that few ever did. It was in that recognition, he realized, that humans had a power many species lacked. Their ability to speak, to act, and to risk being misunderstood often led to breakthroughs that logic alone could never achieve. "Come on," Rena said finally, straightening and gesturing toward the center of the deck. "We should review the data together. I think your honesty might actually help." Kai followed. feeling a rare surge of excitement. Working alongside Rena wasn't new. But today, something felt different. There was an energy between them that went beyond camaraderie, a recognition that humans could excel not just in technical skill, but in courage, curiosity, and intuition. As they examined the data, a pattern began to emerge, one that even Rena hadn't anticipated. A cluster of energy signatures in the nearby star system suggested the presence of an anomaly. Something that was neither natural nor artificial, but intelligent. "This is unusual," Rena said, her eyes widening. "It's almost like it's responding to our sensors. Almost as if it knows we're watching." Kai felt a thrill. This was why humans had always been explorers, adventurers, and pioneers. Other species might have waited for more data, run simulations, or avoided risk. But humans acted. They ventured into the unknown not because they had to, but because they could. "We need to investigate," Kai said, his voice steady. "We can't just leave it there." "We?" Rena nodded, her mind already racing with hypotheses. "Agreed. But this is delicate. One wrong move, and we could provoke something we don't understand." Kai smiled faintly. "Since when have humans let caution stop them?" Her eyes met his, and for a brief moment, Kai saw the spark of respect, perhaps even admiration. It was a subtle acknowledgement, but it carried weight. In the vastness of space, where alien civilizations often underestimated humans for their impulsiveness, moments like this reminded Kai why he valued human traits so highly. They prepared the Aurora's dawn for approach, calibrating instruments and running simulations. Every action was deliberate, yet the humans on board retained their characteristic spontaneity. Other species might have relied entirely on pre-programmed logic. But humans combined intuition, creativity, and courage in ways that technology alone couldn't replicate. As the ship drew closer to the anomaly, Kai felt a surge of anticipation. The unknown was always intimidating, but it was also a canvas for human ingenuity. And today, he thought, humans were about to prove just how remarkable they could be. Rena glanced at him, her expression unreadable. "You know," she said, almost in passing, "accidentally speaking your thoughts isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it leads to discoveries, personal and scientific." Kai laughed, a mix of relief and agreement. "I'll keep that in mind." 80 yen works. The anomaly loomed ahead, a swirling vortex of energy that shimmered with colors no human eye had names for. It pulsed as if alive, challenging, inviting, and terrifying all at once. The ship's sensors detected fluctuations in gravitational and electromagnetic fields, but the source remained a mystery. Kai leaned forward, feeling that familiar human need to act, to explore, to understand. "Let's see what humans can do," he said quietly. Rena nodded. Together, as they approached, the anomaly seemed to react to their presence, adjusting its energy patterns as if observing them, testing them. Kai felt a surge of pride, not arrogance, but a recognition of what humans could accomplish when they trusted their instincts and each other. The first contact would be risky, unpredictable, and perhaps dangerous. But that was the essence of being human. Confronting the unknown, learning, adapting, and thriving where others might falter. Kai and Rena exchanged a brief glance, an unspoken agreement passing between them. Today, humans would show that their curiosity, courage, and honesty were not flaws, but strengths. The universe was vast and filled with mysteries, but humans had a remarkable way of rising to the challenge. The anomaly pulsed again, brighter this time, and the ship's instruments recorded patterns that defied conventional science. Kai felt the familiar thrill of discovery, human ingenuity at work in a universe that often underestimated it. For the first time that morning, Kai allowed himself to smile freely. Accidental honesty had led him here, to the brink of something extraordinary, and in that moment, he understood something fundamental. Humans were capable of astonishing things, not because they were perfect, but because they dared to think, act, and speak boldly, sometimes even without realizing it. The Aurora's dawn moved closer, ready to face the unknown, carrying within it the courage, curiosity, and resilience that defined humanity. And as the stars stretched endlessly beyond the viewport, Kai knew one thing for certain. The universe had no idea what humans were truly capable of. The Aurora's dawn hovered near the anomaly, the strange energy field pulsating like a heartbeat. Kai felt it resonate through the ship's hull, a subtle vibration that stirred something deep inside him. It was both thrilling and unnerving, an experience that reminded him why humans had always been explorers. There was a raw, instinctive courage in stepping toward the unknown, something that no alien calculation could replicate. Rena worked at the console, her fingers moving with practiced precision as she adjusted the sensors and scanners. "Kai," she said without looking up, "the readings are unlike anything in the database. It's almost as if the anomaly has its own intelligence. It reacts to our presence." Kai studied the holographic projection of the anomaly. The colors shifted constantly, patterns forming and dissolving like living organisms. "You mean it's aware of us?" he asked, trying to mask his excitement. "Possibly," Rena said, her voice calm but her eyes wide with wonder. "Or it could be a natural feedback loop we don't yet understand. Either way, we're seeing something extraordinary." Kai nodded, feeling the familiar rush of human curiosity. Humans were not patient creatures by nature. They wanted answers, solutions, and progress. Other species might have retreated or waited for more information, but humans acted, they experimented, explored, and learned through experience. That impulsiveness was often seen as reckless, but more often than not, it led to breakthroughs that others could not achieve. "We need to get closer," Kai said. "We can't just observe from a distance. This might be the first contact of its kind. Humans need to see, to understand, to experience it directly." Rena glanced at him, a mixture of caution and admiration in her eyes. "I agree. But we must proceed carefully. The last thing we want is to provoke it before we know what we're dealing with." Kai grinned. "Careful, yes. But humans aren't built to sit and wait. We understand through action." They maneuvered the ship slowly toward the anomaly. The further they approached, the more the colors and patterns seemed to respond. It was as though the anomaly was observing them, testing their intentions. Kai felt a strange sense of being evaluated not by a machine, but by something truly alien, something that could think and perceive in ways he could not yet comprehend. The ship's instruments began registering fluctuations in energy, and alarms blinked intermittently on the console. Rena's fingers danced over the controls, adjusting shields and stabilizing the ship's systems. "It's reacting to our movements," she said. "The closer we get, the stronger the energy surges become. It's alive, in a way we've never encountered." Kai felt a thrill run through him. "Alive or not, we're going to understand it. Humans are good at this. We see patterns, we make connections, and we adapt. We can handle it." Rena nodded, impressed by his confidence. Humans had a way of approaching danger that was unlike any other species. They relied not only on tools and technology, but on intuition, adaptability, and a willingness to take risks. It was a combination that had allowed humanity to survive on countless worlds, to colonize inhospitable planets, and to navigate the complexities of interstellar diplomacy. As they drew closer, the anomaly's colors intensified, swirling faster, almost as if it were communicating. The ship's sensors detected subtle pulses, vibrations that seemed to follow a rhythm. Rena leaned forward, analyzing the data. "Kai, it's sending signals. I think it's trying to communicate, but the patterns, they're not like any language we know." Kai's eyes sparkled. "Then we'll find a way to understand it. Humans always find a way." They spent hours observing and recording, each adjustment revealing more about the anomaly's behavior. Kai suggested minor changes to the ship's approach, using human intuition rather than relying solely on algorithms. To Rena's surprise, the anomaly responded positively, shifting its energy patterns in a way that seemed almost like approval. Humans do have a way of improvising, Rena said quietly. It's effective. Kai smiled. That's how we've survived so long. We adapt, even when the rules are unclear. The anomaly pulsed more intensely, and the ship's shields flickered. It's escalating, Rena said. Something is happening inside it. I'm picking up structures forming within the energy field. Something is happening. Something is happening inside it. Something is happening inside it. Kai leaned closer to the viewport. Fascinated. The energy was condensing, forming shapes that seemed to suggest order, intelligence, and purpose. It's creating something, he whispered. It's alive, and it's building. Rena nodded, her expression a mixture of awe and concern. We need to document this carefully. Whatever it's making could be delicate or dangerous. Kai's mind raced. Humans had faced countless unknowns before, from rogue asteroids to alien species with advanced technology. Each time, they had relied on a combination of courage, creativity, and observation to overcome challenges. He felt that same determination now, knowing that this anomaly could redefine humanity's understanding of life and intelligence. Suddenly, the anomaly emitted a pulse of light so bright it filled the observation deck. The ship's instruments went haywire, and the crew braced themselves. Kai felt the vibration in his bones, a resonance that seemed to reach out to him personally, as if the anomaly recognized human presence in a unique way. Rena stabilized the systems, her hands steady despite the chaos. It's responding to us directly, she said. This is more than communication. It's interaction. Kai's heart pounded. Humans have always wanted to understand the unknown. Now the unknown is responding. This is what we were made for. The anomaly's light dimmed slightly, and a new pattern emerged on the sensors. The shapes formed geometric configurations, then shifted into sequences that resembled mathematical formulas. Rena's eyes widened. It's sharing knowledge, she said. It's trying to teach us something. Kai grinned, feeling a surge of pride. Humans had a reputation among other species for recklessness, for being impulsive and unpredictable, but that same impulsiveness, tempered by curiosity and ingenuity, had led to discoveries no other species could achieve. Now, humanity had a chance to learn from an intelligence unlike any they had encountered. They spent hours decoding the signals, each breakthrough revealing more about the anomaly's structure and behavior. Kai suggested approaches that combined logic and instinct, ideas that might have seemed reckless but proved effective. Rena marveled at the results. You, humans, you find patterns where none seem to exist. It's remarkable. Kai shrugged, though he felt a deep satisfaction. It's what we do. We see possibilities, even when they're not obvious. That's human nature. As night fell aboard the ship, the anomaly continued its subtle interactions. It shifted, pulsed, and transformed in response to their actions. The Aurora's Dawn crew documented everything, creating a record that would take years to fully understand. Yet Kai knew that humans had already accomplished something extraordinary simply by engaging directly, boldly, and honestly with the unknown. Rena approached Kai at one point, her expression thoughtful. You know, she said softly, accidentally revealing your thoughts earlier. It's what got us here. You spoke openly, without hiding your curiosity. That's part of why the anomaly is responding to us. It recognizes honesty. Kai chuckled. I suppose humans have a way of leaving trails, even when we don't mean to. But maybe that's why we survive: our openness, our willingness to act, even when the outcome is uncertain. Rena smiled, and for a moment, the tension of the day faded. Humans had a remarkable ability to connect, to build trust, and to engage with the unknown in ways that other species often could not. It was this combination of intelligence, courage, and instinct that made humanity extraordinary. As the anomaly's pulses continued, Kai felt a profound sense of purpose. Humanity was small in the grand scale of the universe, yet they had an ability to influence, understand, and interact with forces far greater than themselves. This anomaly was just one example, A glimpse of what humans could achieve when they trusted their instincts and embraced the unknown. Rena placed a hand on the console. Kai. The anomaly. It's changing. The structures inside are becoming more complex. I think it's preparing for something. Kai nodded. Then we need to be ready. Humans don't back down from challenges. We face them, we adapt, and we overcome. The anomaly pulsed brightly, almost in rhythm with Kai's heartbeat. He felt a sense of connection not just to Rena, not just to the ship, but to humanity as a whole. Humans had always dared to explore, to speak openly, to act boldly. And now, in the presence of something truly alien, those traits shone brighter than ever. Rena looked at him, a quiet understanding passing between them. We're witnessing something extraordinary, Kai. And it's because humans approached it the way we do, fearless, curious, and honest. Kai smiled, feeling a surge of pride. Humanity was more than just a species. It was a force, a way of thinking, a determination that refused to be underestimated. And in the presence of the anomaly, that force would be tested, challenged, and ultimately proven. The Aurora's dawn drifted closer to the anomaly, ready for the next phase of discovery. The unknown loomed large, but humans had always thrived in the face of uncertainty. They adapted, they learned, and they survived. And as Kai looked at Rena, at the swirling energy beyond the viewport, he knew one thing for certain. Humanity was capable of extraordinary feats, and the universe was about to see just how remarkable they could be. Kai felt a strange thrill as the Aurora's dawn hovered closer to the anomaly. Its pulses had grown stronger, almost rhythmic, as if it were aware of the ship's every movement. He leaned forward at the viewport, watching the colors swirl and shift, patterns forming and dissolving in ways that seemed almost deliberate. It was unlike anything humans had ever encountered. Yet he felt that, somehow, they could understand it. That was the human edge, the ability to connect, to adapt, to find meaning where others saw chaos. Rena worked silently at the console, her eyes scanning streams of data as they continued decoding the anomaly's signals. Kai, she said carefully, the anomaly's patterns are becoming more complex. It's as if it's evolving in response to us. Every adjustment we make seems to trigger a new formation. Kai nodded. That's what I expected. Humans have a way of inspiring responses, even in systems that aren't human. We notice, we act, we adapt, and the universe notices back. Rena paused and looked at him, a faint smile playing at her lips. It's strange, isn't it? Most species would avoid interacting with something this unknown. But humans, you see an opportunity, not a risk. Kai smiled faintly. That's how humans have survived. We've faced countless dangers that others would have fled from. The unknown isn't a threat, it's a challenge. And we're built to meet it. The anomaly pulsed again, brighter this time, and the ship's instruments detected intricate formations of energy that resembled networks of interlocking symbols. Rena leaned closer, fascinated. Kai. These formations are more than random. They're structured, almost like a language, or instructions. Kai's eyes widened. Instructions? You mean it's teaching us something? Rena nodded slowly. Yes, but it's not just information. It's patterns of thought. It's showing us how it processes the universe. Kai felt a surge of excitement. Humans had always been explorers, scientists, and learners. Other species might rely on pre-programmed logic or instinct alone, but humans combined intuition, creativity, and curiosity in ways that allowed them to see deeper connections. This anomaly was responding to those traits, recognizing that humans had a unique approach to understanding. We need to approach it carefully, Rena said. The more we interact, the more unpredictable its behavior becomes. We don't fully understand its limits yet. Kai nodded. I know. But we also can't ignore it. Humans thrive on challenges like this. We learn, we adapt, and we grow stronger because of them. Hours passed as they engaged with the anomaly. Each adjustment, each observation, seemed to elicit new responses. The energy formations became more intricate, almost as if the anomaly were communicating in a medium beyond human language. Patterns appeared, shifted, and then transformed again, each evolution more complex than the last. Kai realized that they were witnessing the birth of something extraordinary, an intelligence that could interact, respond, and evolve, but in a way entirely different from human thought. Yet despite the differences, there was a bridge, a way for humans to understand, to connect, to learn. That was what made humanity remarkable. The ability to reach across the unknown and find comprehension where others might see only mystery. Rena adjusted the sensors to send a series of carefully calibrated pulses into the anomaly. "Kai, watch this," she said. The pulses triggered a series of energy spirals that rippled through the anomaly, forming structures that looked almost like crystalline lattices, suspended in the swirling energy. Kai felt a rush of awe. It's building something. But what? Is it a message? A tool? Or a life form? Rena shook her head. I can't tell yet. But it's definitely learning from us. Every action we take is mirrored in its structures. Every decision reflected in its patterns. Kai's mind raced. Humans had always used feedback to innovate, observing results, experimenting, adapting. This anomaly was providing the ultimate feedback loop, challenging them to understand its logic and respond with human ingenuity. It was the perfect test. Suddenly, the anomaly emitted a pulse that reverberated through the ship. The lights flickered, and the energy formations projected by the anomaly glowed brighter than ever. It wasn't hostile, but it carried a presence, a deliberate, intelligent awareness that demanded respect. Rena glanced at Kai. It's aware of us at a deeper level, not just our actions, but our intentions. It seems to recognize our curiosity and our drive to understand. Kai nodded slowly. That's what humans do best. We act, even when we're unsure. We take risks. We observe. And we learn. Maybe it respects that. The anomaly began to shift, sending waves of energy that formed patterns reminiscent of human symbols, shapes that triggered a recognition deep in Kai's mind. Rena, look at this. These symbols, they're like concepts we understand. Not language, not words, but ideas. Rena leaned in, her expression one of wonder. Incredible. It's conveying knowledge through thought forms, not speech or code. Humans, maybe we're uniquely equipped to interpret this. Kai felt a sense of pride swell in his chest. Humans had always been underestimated. Many alien species assumed that physical strength, advanced technology, or sheer size determined superiority. But humans had an edge others lacked: intuition, creativity, and the willingness to act boldly. That edge had kept humanity alive for centuries in environments that should have destroyed them, and now it was proving invaluable once again. They continued to interact, each pulse and formation revealing new insights. The anomaly seemed to test their reasoning, challenge their assumptions, and reward ingenuity. Every human action, every choice, every observation was mirrored back in intricate displays of energy. Kai realized something profound. This interaction wasn't just about understanding the anomaly. It was a test of humanity itself. Every risk, every act of curiosity, every honest response was being observed. And in that observation, humans were proving their value not as conquerors, not as invaders, but as intelligent, adaptable beings capable of insight that no machine or alien species could easily replicate. Hours stretched into what felt like days, but Kai never felt fatigue. There was a rhythm to the interaction, a dance between human intuition and alien intelligence that was exhilarating. Rena spoke quietly, almost to herself. Kai, it's sharing more than knowledge. It's sharing a perspective, a way of processing existence. And I think it's learning from us too. Kai's eyes widened. You mean it's evolving because of us? Rena nodded. Yes. Humans have a way of inspiring growth. Our curiosity, our courage, our willingness to act without knowing all the answers. It seems to resonate with the anomaly. It's learning human-like creativity. Kai smiled faintly, feeling a deep sense of connection. Humans weren't the strongest species, nor the most technologically advanced. But their qualities, courage, adaptability, ingenuity, were unmatched. And now, in the presence of this living, thinking anomaly, those qualities were proving their worth in ways that even the most advanced aliens might never understand. Suddenly, the anomaly pulsed violently, sending waves of energy that rocked the Aurora's dawn. The crew braced themselves, but Kai felt exhilaration rather than fear. It's testing us, he shouted over the comms. Not harming us, just testing. Humans can handle this. Rena's fingers flew across the console, adjusting the ship's systems to maintain stability. Kai, it's complex. The energy patterns are shifting too fast. But somehow, our responses are influencing it. Kai nodded. That's human instinct at work. We adapt, we respond, and we survive. As the anomaly's pulses stabilized, new patterns emerged, more ordered, more deliberate. It was as if the anomaly was acknowledging their efforts, rewarding their ingenuity, and inviting them deeper into its mysteries. Rena looked at Kai, her eyes shining with amazement. You were right, Kai. Humans aren't just observers. We're participants. And the anomaly, it recognizes that. Kai felt a surge of pride. Humanity had always faced the unknown with courage and creativity. They had survived catastrophes, adapted to hostile worlds, and reached beyond the stars to discover new possibilities. And now, they were proving that even in the presence of something utterly alien, humans could engage, understand, and inspire. The anomaly's energy began to stabilize into a form that resembled a lattice of light, intricate and breathtaking. Kai realized that they were witnessing the creation of something extraordinary, perhaps the first true collaboration between human intelligence and an alien consciousness. Rena placed a hand on his shoulder, her voice filled with quiet awe. Kai, this is just the beginning. We're not just learning from it. We're shaping it. Together, humanity is shaping the universe in ways even we don't fully understand yet. Kai smiled, feeling the weight and wonder of the moment. Humans had always been underestimated, but their courage, ingenuity, and honesty were qualities that could bridge the unknown. And as the anomaly shimmered in response to their presence, he knew that humanity was proving, once again, that they were capable of greatness beyond measure. The Aurora's dawn floated silently in the midst of the anomaly, a human vessel at the edge of discovery, poised to take the next step in understanding a universe that was both vast and mysterious. And as Kai gazed at the patterns of light and energy, he felt a profound certainty. Humans were not merely participants in the cosmos. They were shapers of it. Kai watched the anomaly from the observation deck, feeling a mixture of awe and anticipation. Its energy formations had settled into intricate lattices of light, patterns so complex that they seemed to stretch beyond understanding. Yet, there was clarity in their complexity, a rhythm, a logic that human minds could begin to grasp. It was almost as if the anomaly itself had decided that humans were worthy of comprehension. Rena stood beside him, her eyes fixed on the shifting structures. Kai, it's incredible. I've never seen anything like this. It's not just responding to us, it's learning from us. And I think it's trying to teach us something. Kai nodded, a thrill running through him. Humans learn best through action and experience. It recognizes that. That's why it's showing us these patterns. It's acknowledging us as thinkers, as problem solvers. For hours, they continued their careful interaction with the anomaly. Every adjustment, every subtle movement of the ship seemed to trigger responses, new formations, and evolving patterns. Kai realized that the anomaly wasn't just a passive observer, it was a living, evolving intelligence capable of recognizing human ingenuity. And in that recognition lay the core of humanity's strength. Rena adjusted the ship's sensors to map the anomaly in more detail. Kai, the structures, it's building something. I can feel it. It's forming a lattice that could be a communication device, a bridge, or a repository of knowledge. Kai leaned closer to the viewport, captivated. Then we need to understand it. Humans aren't just observers. We act, we adapt, we interpret, and we thrive on challenges like this. Rena smiled faintly. That's why this is working. The anomaly senses our intent, our curiosity, our courage, and it's responding accordingly. As the ship drifted closer, the anomaly's pulses intensified. Patterns of energy spiraled outward, forming a luminous sphere around the Aurora's dawn. It wasn't hostile, but the power radiating from it was undeniable. The ship's instruments recorded fluctuations in gravitational and electromagnetic fields that defied conventional science. Yet Kai remained calm. Humans had always faced the unknown with courage, relying on instinct, creativity, and intelligence to navigate dangers no other species could confront. Rena, it's like it's waiting for us to make the next move, Kai said. Whatever it's planning, it wants to see how humans respond. That's our advantage, our ability to think, adapt, and act in ways nothing else can. Rena nodded, adjusting her console. Then we'll respond. Carefully, but decisively. Humans have a way of turning challenges into opportunities. They synchronized the ship's systems with the anomaly's energy pulses. The lattices of light shifted as if in acknowledgement, and the anomaly began to project a series of shapes and sequences that resembled three-dimensional maps. Kai and Rena studied them carefully, realizing that the anomaly was conveying not just information, but understanding concepts about physics, energy, and the nature of consciousness that surpassed current human knowledge. Kai felt a surge of pride. Humans had always been underestimated. Other species might rely on brute strength, advanced technology, or sheer longevity. Humans, however, thrived on adaptability, curiosity, and ingenuity. That combination had allowed them to survive and explore hostile worlds, to solve problems that seemed impossible, and now, to engage directly with an intelligence beyond comprehension. Rena, Kai said, excitement rising in his voice. This could change everything. We're not just learning about the anomaly, we're learning from it, and it's learning from us. Humanity has a role here, a unique one. Rena's eyes shone with understanding. Yes. Our willingness to act boldly, to speak openly, to embrace uncertainty, it's what sets us apart. And the anomaly recognizes that. It's a partnership, Kai. In a way, humans and this anomaly are collaborating. Kai grinned. Then let's make the most of it. For the next several hours, they worked together, experimenting with sequences of energy pulses, adjusting the ship's position, and responding to the anomaly's evolving patterns. Each interaction revealed more of the anomaly's intelligence and purpose. It wasn't just a natural phenomenon, it was a conscious entity, capable of understanding, learning, and even creating. At one point, the anomaly emitted a pulse that projected a dazzling lattice of light outside the ship. The shapes coalesced into a form that was almost architectural, a structure suspended in energy, shimmering with color and movement. Kai and Rena exchanged amazed glances. It's creating a bridge, Rena whispered. A bridge of knowledge, perhaps. Or a connection. It's inviting us to step further. To engage more deeply. Kai nodded, feeling a sense of awe and responsibility. Humans had always taken risks to explore the unknown. And this was the ultimate test of their courage and intellect. They weren't just witnesses, they were participants, shaping and being shaped by an intelligence far beyond anything previously encountered. We'll step carefully, Kai said. But we will step. That's what humans do. They synchronized the ship's systems once more, sending a carefully calibrated pulse into the anomaly. The energy lattice responded immediately, stabilizing, and forming a channel of light that seemed almost tangible. It was as if the anomaly was offering a path, a way to interact directly with its intelligence. Rena's fingers flew across the controls. Kai. The patterns, it's teaching us the fundamentals of its structure. If we follow, we might understand it completely. Kai felt a thrill. Humans had always excelled when faced with challenges that required courage, adaptability, and creativity. Now, they had the chance to prove that even in the face of the utterly alien, humanity could not only survive but thrive, learn, and shape outcomes in ways no other species could. They guided the ship slowly into the channel of energy. The anomaly's pulses intensified, enveloping the Aurora's dawn in a radiant cocoon. Kai felt the vibrations resonate deep in his chest, a sensation that was both exhilarating and humbling. This was the unknown, the frontier of understanding, and humans were engaging with it directly. Rena's voice was steady but filled with awe. Kai, I think it's connecting with us on a cognitive level. The patterns we're seeing, their responses to our thought processes. It's incredible. Kai nodded, his eyes fixed on the shifting lattice of light. Humans have always relied on thought, intuition, and creativity. That's why we survive. That's why we thrive. And that's why we're capable of this. This connection, this understanding. The anomaly pulsed again, brighter than ever. The lattice expanded, forming intricate designs that seemed to mirror the neural patterns of human thought. Kai and Rena realized that the anomaly was not only teaching, they were co-creating, exchanging understanding, and elevating each other's intelligence. Hours passed, but Kai felt no fatigue. There was a rhythm to the interaction. A flow that humans excelled at, adapting to change, responding to complexity, and finding solutions where none seemed apparent. The anomaly was teaching them not just knowledge, but the essence of intelligence itself. Finally, the anomaly pulsed one last time, projecting a coherent pattern that formed a three-dimensional map of the surrounding star system. Kai could see gravitational anomalies, energy flows, and hidden celestial bodies that no sensors had previously detected. The map was a gift, a tool that would advance humanity's understanding of the cosmos immeasurably. Rena turned to Kai, her expression radiant. We've done it. We've made contact, understood its patterns, and learned from it. And it has learned from us. Humanity's curiosity, courage, and ingenuity were the key. Kai smiled, a deep satisfaction filling him. Humans have always been underestimated. But we adapt, we create, we explore, and today, we've proven that again. Not through strength, not through technology alone, but through the qualities that define us, our minds, our courage, and our willingness to act. The anomaly's pulses gradually faded, leaving the Aurora's dawn surrounded by the quiet, vast expanse of space. Yet the ship's sensors still recorded subtle energy flows, patterns that hinted at further mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Kai and Rena knew this was only the beginning. Humanity had made a connection that no one had predicted, demonstrating that courage, curiosity, and ingenuity were more powerful than fear, inaction, or assumptions. Kai gazed out at the stars, feeling a profound sense of purpose. Humans were small in the universe, yet they had a remarkable ability to influence, understand, and create. The anomaly had recognized that, and in doing so, had opened a new chapter for humanity. Rena stood beside him, silent for a moment, and then said, Kai, you were right. Speaking your mind, acting honestly, being curious. It's part of what brought us here. Humanity's strengths aren't in hiding or avoiding risk, they're in embracing it. Kai nodded, feeling the truth in her words. That's what humans do. We face the unknown, we learn, we adapt, and we grow. And the universe, it's starting to understand that about us. As the Aurora's dawn prepared to depart, Kai felt a surge of hope and pride. Humanity had not only discovered an extraordinary intelligence, but they had proven that their qualities, the very essence of being human, were enough to engage with the cosmos in a meaningful way. They were explorers, learners, and participants in the grand design of the universe. And as the stars stretched endlessly before them, Kai knew that humanity's journey was only beginning. The universe had seen their courage, their ingenuity, and their willingness to act boldly, and it would never underestimate humans again.